Welcome to She Says with your host, Stephanie Regalado. She Says guests share stories from their challenges to successes and, most importantly, the journey of womanhood woven alongside the collaboration of sisterhood. From self, love, friends and family, to hot topics, career, and world views, Stephanie and her guests discuss matters with utmost openness and honesty. So let's hear what she says. Here's Stephanie.
Hello, welcome to She Says. Super excited. If you do not know the Beyond Pink Girls, I'm not sure how that happened. But it's my pleasure to introduce you to Charlie Brewer and Karla Porter. We're going to hop right in today and talk about some stats because I can't get some of them that you shared at an event a couple of weeks ago or a month ago out of my head.
Yeah.
So I want you to throw down.
They're disturbing, and I'll throw them down. I call it breast cancer by the numbers. So currently, 1 in 8 women get breast cancer. We anticipate that to increase to 1 in 5 in the next 10 years or less, just based on our toxins and everything that's going on. 80% of the breast cancers have no family history.
That surprises me.
It surprises a lot of people. It just means there's nobody safe. 85% are what they call estrogen receptor positive. And that means that estrogen, natural or unnatural, is feeding the tumor like Miracle-Gro. So Washington State's one of the highest in the nation for breast cancer, and we don't know why. It's disputed, but the fact remains it is. Every week, 100 women in Washington State get breast cancer. Every week. 1 in 1,000 men get breast cancer. I mean, they're disturbing as all get out. Yeah. 252,000 women or more get breast cancer each year, and of that, 48,000 or more die.
And that's nationwide for the last...
Yeah, that's nationwide. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So I was doing the math with the 1 in 8. We usually will have around 2,000 viewers or more of this podcast, and that means 250 of our viewers, at least 250 of our viewers, will be diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yeah.
In the coming weeks, months.
And even just an extra little fact, of the 48,000 women who succumb to the disease, most of those women, more than half, are under the age of 50.
Yeah, it seems like it's more aggressive when you...
Well, and our current screening starts at 40, 45, or 50. It's a moving target, and so we're missing a gap.
Have those standards been... Are they going to change since...
Well, it's expected for it to probably get worse.
Yeah.
Right.
As far as the screening, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to tell. We're missing that 20 to 40-year-old woman completely.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you two meet? How does the story begin?
It's a great story, and I'll keep it short because it's really kind of funny. But my sister was on her second round of breast cancer, and in looking into things and being concerned, and your family, you try to investigate, and you're just mad. And I Googled, like we all do, Google MD, and I found a blog on thermal imaging. I'd never heard of it. I thought, oh my gosh, it's been around since 1982. Why do I not know about this? We're pretty well educated. And it kind of went to the side of my thinking at the time. A lot was going on. And about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks later, I ran into Karla at a networking event, and Karla's the one who wrote the blog that I read.
Oh my gosh!
So of course
I
ran here, and I ran up to her. I saw her name tag. I'm very like, go. She's very like, I don't know who you are. I called out her name, Karla Porter. I love you. I love what you're doing. And she's like, oh no. We became fast friends, and we decided that we really had to work on educating the public, the women, our town, our city about the technology. And then we realized, of course, it's not funded by insurance. And so I said, hey, if you want to have a fundraiser, let me know. And we did.
And that is
11 weeks later, we had our first fundraiser.
It was 11 weeks after
you
had the idea?
Yeah.
Wow. And what were the numbers? How many people attended?
I'm going to say we had about 150, maybe 200 people that first year.
First year, yeah.
Yeah, it was really, we had vendors, we had the Spokane Club, we didn't even know. We threw everything we had at it.
Designers.
Yeah.
It all contributed.
It's really sweet.
And this last one, how many did you have?
Well, we sell out at 600. We cap it there.
Okay.
But we have a waiting list of almost 100. So.
Well, and that's good to point out, actually, because so many people toward the end, they get really antsy when it is sold out. Like, is it truly sold out? And some people will, even people have reached out to me and said, okay, I know you know.
Well,
Karla, is there any way you can get me in?
I always try to post that it's the fire marshal. It's not us.
Yes.
And we make sure that we keep it to the space where we can put that many in there because it keeps it the energy high and it's intimate at 600.
Yeah,
but
I want to talk more about beyond the actual event, but let's talk about the
technology.
And what
Okay.
exactly what it is for someone who has never heard of thermography or heard of it but doesn't understand it.
Okay, so breast thermography is also known as thermal imaging or digital infrared thermal imaging. So it's got a couple of different names. Not to be confused with tomiocentesis or tomography, which is like a CAT scan. And those are other words for the 3D mammography. So thermal, meaning temperature, is what we're talking about, thermal imaging. It has been around for quite some time, but it became FDA approved in 1982 as an adjunct tool to help screen for breast cancer. There was a long study done in the 70s with this technology and mammography. And the problem with this technology, to make the story a little bit shorter, is that it basically finds the disease too soon, and doctors don't know what to do with it. Providers don't know what to do with a test of physiology, because there could very well not even be a tumor formed. We can see the inflammation, we just can't see a mass. That's what we're seeing on mammography, MRI, and ultrasound. So there's still a little bit of confusion, and we are here to help educate, and it's a very empowering tool. If you can see what's going on, and we can, you know, about 90% of the time, before a mass is formed, we have the opportunity to make lifestyle changes and turn it around, and we're seeing it all the time. With Beyond Pink.
Yeah, well, and one thing, I'm going to just interject really quick, on a personal level, it totally changed my world.
Yay.
And I'm going to get emotional again, but because I'm a BRCA1 gene mutation carrier, my entire family is, all the women have died, except for my mother, of ovarian cancer, but I still, within the BRCA1 gene mutation, the rate of it being a breast cancer is super high as well. So they had me on this regimen, they as my medical professional or my medical care providers, to have a diagnostic ultrasound and mammogram one time a year, and 6 months later have an MRI, breast MRI, which I absolutely dreaded and cried almost through the whole way through. They have to do the IV contrast, Supergirl position with your breast hanging through holes on a table, absolutely no movement for 45 minutes. And I don't know why that just felt so horrific to me, but then, so every 6 months something was happening. And then they'd see one little thing and they'd have to biopsy it because I'm BRCA1 and they don't want to take any risks. So I went from that.
Understandable.
Even though I had a 6 month break between things, I always thought about it. And then when I had my first thermogram 3 or 4 years ago, it was I totally exhaled, because it shows you, because if there's heat, that's disease produces heat.
Inflammation.
Yeah, I'm not a scientist.
That's all right. You're doing great.
And when I could see, the estrogen in my breast tissue and my whole chest area, and I was at a very low. There wasn't anything alarming. And I'm sure medical professionals would say for me not to do what I did, but I totally went off of mammograms, and you may also advise me not to, and the MRI. I don't want to have to go through that. Plus the MRI is like $2,500, and my insurance didn't pay very much of it. But, there's all these things that you consider. And I had my other follow-up. Of course, I delayed it, what I should have, just a couple of weeks ago. And it was interesting to see the changes over 4 years.
Between your two thermograms.
Between my two thermograms. It's just that when I sat through your presentation a month or so ago before, I realized the last couple of years I've done everything probably to create disease in my body that I possibly could, with health, diet, stress, environmental toxins, which we can talk more about. Dryer sheets. What?
Get rid of those.
Poisoning my family that way. But so anyway, it's just so incredible, and that's one of the reasons why I absolutely want to share your message and have you on today. But one story that sticks out that you have shared that I have found so interesting is you have a good friend who, tell us about your good friend.
Stacy.
Stacy, yes.
Yeah. And I might cry.
Yeah.
Stacy's a very good friend of ours for, I don't know, more than 20 years. I mean, we kind of cut our teeth together, if you will. A friend of the family. And, we're out there spreading this message and doing everything that we can. And 7 years into Beyond Pink, she's got a concern. She's got something going on in her breast. She kind of scratched it and thought, that's new. And she's one of those girls, and the girls out here can identify. She's got lumpy and dense breast tissue, and so it's probably just another one of those lumps. So she's encouraged to go for her mammogram, and they say, gosh, you know what, you got a concern. We're going to have to reschedule for a diagnostic. And she ended up calling my sister, and my sister said, why are you not having your thermogram? And she went in, Karla was able to get her in right away, and she went in, and it was really, really obvious that something was really dreadfully wrong. And she, at that point, went ahead with her mammogram, her diagnostic, which did come back unremarkable. Upon the physical exam that Karla does, she had a 5.5.
Her
mass.
tumor that I could feel was, or mass, I should say, because we didn't know what it was, was about 5.5 centimeters. It was huge.
It was huge. So the long story short is she had her HER2 positive 3, let me see, stage 3 HER2 positive breast cancer. But the mammogram, because of her lumpy breast tissue, would have missed it. It all looks the same. So if she hadn't had her thermogram, she would have gone home and said it was nothing. So she's fought fiercely for a couple of years. Yeah, she's on our Facebook page. She's okay if we're sharing this. But it just makes my heart break for the people. Like if we had seen her 7 years ago when we started. So when I get all up in your grill, it's because I love you. And it's important. It could have changed that outcome. And she speaks to that as well herself.
Because she's fought for her life.
Oh, for her life. It has been a huge, long
And would she have
fight.
come back after her mammogram? Would she have come, do a follow-up in 6 months?
No,
a year.
a year.
Oh, a year?
Yeah, it had been too late.
She was very concerned because of the thermogram, even though they didn't really want to recognize the technology. They did listen to her, and she was able to get an ultrasound. And
Which
they
is what
saw the
ultimately
tumor.
diagnosed it.
Right.
Okay.
So because of the thermogram, she knew something was wrong. She was able to get the ultrasound, which did detect it, and then, of course, a biopsy to diagnose.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love. Most of the people that you're helping through Beyond Pink it's preventative. It's not afterward.
Proactive.
So
Yeah.
it's the proactive. Let's catch this ahead. And it is amazing how we can change our environment and what we put into our bodies and have so much control
Well, and
over our
oftentimes,
health.
if you have breast cancer, have gone through it with somebody, you go through your radiologist, surgeon, oncologist, and somebody will say, you know what, this has probably been brewing for a while. And they're right. And that's the gift of thermal imaging.
Yeah.
We can see that inflammation starting up to 10 years before it's visible.
And before it's an actual threat.
Yeah,
Big enough
absolutely.
To be a threat.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. And we'll be right back.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer, and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. Enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
Welcome back to She Says with Karla Porter and Charlie Brewer, and all things beyond pink and boobies, healthy boobies. Well, and men are at risk as well. And I know that you have potentially a board member who was tested when we talk about environmental factors, cell phones. I know every time I can no longer put my phone into my bra because I've been smacked a few times.
That's right. Yeah, they're high in radiation, and
it's the radiation.
if you have a trimeter, you can test it yourself. They're very strong. There are some protective devices that you can purchase to help cut down the radiation, but your best friend is distance, trying not to use it as your alarm clock next to your head. Young kids are putting it under their pillow when they're sleeping. They should be collected at the end of the day.
Because you're saying that even when it's not being used,
if it's on,
like wherever my phone is right now, it's still emitting.
It's emitting
radiation.
Radiation, yes.
And then that radiation alters cells. What is it? What is the risk to our bodies?
Well, it's the DNA damage that we're concerned about. It's very similar to like a microwave. There's different forms of radiation, but there's a lot of studies going on right now, and it is it's been pretty well concluded that about 2 years ago, a 21-year-old had a tumor in her breast. She was known to keep her cell phone there, and the surgeon stated that there was no doubt that it was caused from her cell phone.
Well, I've seen some images, I'm not sure if there are any that you included today, where you can see an outline of a cell phone on the image. On a
The one that we have is on a gentleman, one of our board members, who carries his cell phone in the same place all the time. The only reason I even saw it is because most men carry it in their pocket lower, but he has a special belt that he carries it on. So it was seen in his chest, and we do thermal imaging on all our board members just to show them what the technology is like so that they can help promote it, be aware of what it's all about. So it was an incidental finding, but I did send it in for interpretation, and it came back high risk. I didn't realize it was his cell phone until I saw him a few weeks later at a networking event. As he was sitting down, I saw it and asked him if that was his cell phone. And he proudly stated that, yes, he's been carrying it there for 14 years. So we got the cell phone off of him. I hope we have those images because it's pretty powerful.
I'm not sure which ones I got through.
2 weeks with it off of his body, what it was, it kind of looked like a number 9, backwards number 9. The entire leg of the 9 was gone after 2 weeks, and all that was left was the circle. 4 months later, it was completely gone.
One thing I've known through my BRCA1 journey is they say as soon as you have cancer cells in your body, you're not in control. I mean, the cancer rules kind of the world, and even if you battle it and fight it, the risk of it coming back is whatever it is. But so that the goal really needs to be
prevention,
not allowing
don't let it happen
ourselves to go into that.
Get ahead of it.
Yeah, this is a proactive approach, and our society is much more reactive. So
well, and that's why I love the name Beyond Pink, because it really is
beyond pink,
beyond that whole movement, which is
pink washing.
Well, and a lot of those, I don't even know that they're really generating a lot of money for, and it's studying how to kill cancer cells versus.
Well, once you get it, I mean, you really got to be fast acting, and that's a really big part of that. But our whole premise is we really believe the cure is not getting cancer, prevention.
Right.
So, and we have people that we are too late. They're already sick, but we're finding things that would have been missed. But our whole goal is to be early, starts at age 20, and let's stay on top of it and let's reverse what's going on.
Yeah. What are some stories that, I know the work that you do is hard because, like you said, it's not always good news.
I had a year where I quit every day, I swear. This is just too hard. But, in my life, I feel like God is great. And the day that I'm ready to quit, in comes this amazing email or story or somebody that I pass by and I say, oh my gosh, you're Charlie, and they cry. I don't have faces with these people all the time that we grant grants to, but in particular, I get a lot of emails, but one that really was timely came from one of our recipients, and she stated that, Charlie, I just wanted to let you know, in case you ever wonder if the work you're doing is saving lives, I want you to know it is, because it saved mine. And she went into her journey, and it was very long. This is a 34-year-old young woman who humored us. Like, we push people into these, and they're like, okay, leave me alone, I'll go do it. Yeah. And it ended up being a really long journey for her, a double mastectomy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she survived it, but she said, I'll just do it. I knew maybe someday it might happen, but it wasn't today. And she's doing really good. But this is a healthy, wonderful, young 34-year-old woman.
Who most so would not have had any
Not even.
No.
She's like, I'll just see.
Marathon
I'll
runner.
see what it is. I'll check it out. I want to be proactive in my health. Never expecting to find a thing.
Wow.
And that email altered my course in a huge way, because, gosh, you save a life. That's a woman. That's a footprint. That's a mom. That's a cheerleader.
Yeah.
That's how do you stop? You can't quit.
Yeah. I love that you say that all the time. It's not just one.
It's not just one woman.
Life
It's
or
so
saving
many
one,
lives. Yeah.
And when you think about the women that are
I know. We're
And-
going to uplift and nourish and take care. And
I mean, if you can imagine all the women that you love in your life, and any one of them being zapped out,
Yeah, 1 in 8.
just-
Take a look around.
it's heartbreaking for me, this whole journey and some of the scare tactics that not scare tactics, I'm sorry, that was not the right word, but I was always told by all my doctors, it is not whether there is a monster behind the curtain or not, it's when it's coming out about my breast cancer, because I was being resistant. They wanted me to take have a prophylactic surgery to remove my breasts. My cousins had it done, and she made her decision for her. My mom is in later stages. She's dealt with 5 or 6 or 7 other cancers,
So
and
personal.
they just kept going back to her about the risk of her breast cancer because she's BRCA1 and wanting her to go through the surgery. And I really wish I would have known ahead
I
of
think
time
that's like
about
right
this.
where we met you, is in that.
Because I was like, we just missed it, because she had her breast taken off and then all sorts of problems after that, and she still has had issues with it. I mean, she's still trucking. She doesn't have breast cancer, but it's just sad that she had to mask her body, in essence, for something that may not have ever.
Yeah, and it's so
been
personal. That decision is so personal, but it's nice that there's a tool where you can just kind of watch what's
Just
going on.
take a peek inside of you. I love that.
Yeah.
Just get an idea. So,
Yeah.
what does an appointment look like? I know we're going to be running out of time far too fast, but
Okay. Well, there are several things you have to avoid prior to thermal imaging. There is no radiation compression, nothing touches you. So after following all the things that you have to avoid, which are primarily heat related, you sit in a room that is temperature controlled between 68 and 72 degrees, cannot change more than 1 degree while they're acclimating for 15 minutes. They have nothing on from the waist up, and their arms are up. The hands are on their
Like
heads,
our
so
logo.
they're cooling down, like our Beyond Pink logo.
Yes.
After the acclimation period, I return to the room. We do the imaging in the dark, take usually 5 images.
Which is super fast.
Super fast.
And you don't even know that you're just sitting there and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
then turn here and turn here.
Yeah.
And it's so.
very
we
quick.
as women go through way worse. This is
Oh, I
so
know.
easy.
That's why after, especially the MRIs and everything else
Yeah.
I've been through, just
Yeah.
to have a couple of pictures and be able
Yeah.
to
It's nothing.
have an insight.
And
Yeah.
I want to make sure it's very clear that thermography or thermal imaging is an adjunct tool. It is
Yes.
not a replacement. It is a test of physiology.
That's correct.
All the other radiological technologies are anatomical, meaning a mass has to be formed before you can see it. But we are just, we have an additional tool that all women starting at age 20 should be utilizing.
I always
You know,
say you don't build a house with just a hammer. So you
don't.
need all the tools in the toolbox.
She's got all the best. She's got the best lines. Women will put braces on their dogs before they will take care of themselves.
They will.
Well,
We
and you
laugh.
guys, through your work, have made it so there's not an excuse for any of us.
It's not.
Not
No.
one woman watching this or any woman
No.
any of us knows has an
No.
excuse, because every woman, regardless of background, financial status, insurance status, can go through the website, which we'll have linked afterwards.
Right.
Beyond.
Within a 70-mile radius. We can't.
Okay, yes, thank
we
you.
can't, unfortunately, take care of everybody, but
Yes.
within a 70-mile radius of Spokane.
Go to beyondpink.net.
Yeah, right.
You fill out, it's just
Under
the
the
one
thermography
quick
tab,
thing,
yeah,
under
just
the
scroll
thermography
down.
tab.
Easy,
Really easy.
And if you feel as though you can contribute to the $275,
Yeah, that's the cost of the grant.
That's the cost. That's the cost of the grant. If you feel as though you can
Help our
contribute
friends go
or help
further.
their friends go further, you put in there what you feel as though you can. If you cannot,
That's
then
fine.
you express that as well.
That's fine.
And you guys process it within like 2 days.
Every
or
Monday.
something?
Every
Oh,
Monday.
every Monday.
It's Sunday, Monday. We have an awesome intern that's helping us with that. So it's every.
Yeah.
It says you might be 2 weeks because sometimes we get overrun, but right now
Yeah.
it's every Monday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So quite quickly.
Yes. You're doing so many other amazing things. You work with businesses where you come out and you'll do a lunch and learn.
Yeah, like the one we did for NABA, which was really
Yes.
great. We're working in churches, anywhere where we can get 25 or more women together. We call it a lunch and learn, a breakfast and learn, donut and learn.
Yeah.
I prefer no sugar. It's not good for your breast health.
Right.
But yeah, and we do a presentation where we talk about this and
Yeah.
we talk about the technology, but also how to access our grants.
Yeah.
And we have such good turnouts and so many people. It's a way for us to reach masses
Yeah.
at once. And then those women can go be our ripples because they know people
Yeah.
we don't know.
Absolutely.
And it's about an hour and a half if a business wants to set it up for their business or put something together. We have one coming at Weathers and Associates on the 24th of April. And we'll have more coming up in the churches. And we'll put them on our website and we'll put them on our
excellent.
Facebook page.
Okay. And businesses and groups can contact you through the website.
Yep.
They
as well
can,
to
and
inquire.
also if they want to fund grants or sponsor,
Yeah.
that's how we get all of our money, and that's why we keep everything local.
Mm-hmm.
So they know that they're actually helping people that they probably know and love.
What makes Beyond Pink? You've been winning awards for many years now
Yeah.
about being one of the best, if not the best, one of the best events in our area.
I think
And it's so cool.
It's so cool because we set out to celebrate the strength and beauty of women, and so we said, "Gosh, what can we do that's totally different? We don't want to sit down for 3 hours." So we just have this high energy, lively fashion show that's our live auction. We go to a lot of events, and I think our silent auction is one of the best. But it's intimate, it's high energy, and it's way different than anything that you would ever go to. And if you haven't been, go this year. This is going to be kind of an epic year for us. We moved to the Grand Hotel, so it's kind of a stay and play. But I just think that what we do during that show brings everybody close together, and everybody realize that everything that they are doing stays right here and helps the women, and they are excited to do it. And our models and designers, they are all so passionate. These are everyday people. We have models from like 18 to 70, every size, and people
every
love
size,
that.
shape.
Everybody loves
I
that
love
on
it
our
so much.
runway. These are real people with real passion.
And I think you probably started off with it being maybe one woman that went down the runway.
Yeah, we had
I didn't go in
we
the
had a
first-
few, but it was really
Now it's an entire
it's
production.
a production.
For each.
Yeah.
You will not see a production like this anywhere
No.
close to here. Hats off to Amped Entertainment because he
Yeah.
puts on a heck of a show, but you'll
It's
be
so fun.
amazed. Yeah.
And the cool part about it is each one of the. How many do you have usually?
12 productions.
12 production,
Yeah.
and each production is themed, so it's associated with so many cool things.
Yeah,
You're not just the
yeah.
outfits and what you see.
Yeah,
It's
they come up.
trips
Yeah,
and-
their designs are great.
Yeah.
Trips go with it. Our title sponsor, your local Toyota dealers. I mean, shop where the people are great
Yeah.
and giving back to this community. But after that, it's all individual concepts. The designers come up with it. Yeah.
How can people become involved with the organization? Is there room on the board for?
Yeah, we have some
Yes.
select leadership opportunities on the board.
Okay.
They can reach out to me. Everything on our website, that phone number goes directly to my phone. People are surprised, like, oh my gosh, it's you. Like, I know, I was surprised too. Reach out. There's a contact us, place on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have that. We have volunteer opportunities too, whether that's kind of monthly for the event or maybe just randomly when we need help.
Yeah. Oh, because you have a lunch coming up too.
Yeah,
and
May
Leslie
10th.
Lowe is going to May 10th.
Yeah,
May
May
10th.
10th. Leslie
Luncheon.
Lowe is going to be our speaker. Stephanie
Yeah.
Vigil graciously MCs it for us.
Yes, it's at
And
Chateau
it's
Reeve.
At Chateau Reeve. Yeah, watch
It's
for that
so
announcement.
cool.
Yeah.
I love
That's
that.
an intimate. That's about 150 people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it. And you get to meet providers.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
we have a panel, and Dr. Paula Canny will return to answer questions, and you
She's
know how
amazing,
valuable
yeah.
that
Oh,
is.
my
Yeah,
Lord,
she
yeah.
answers a lot of good, there's a lot of hormone questions, things that are really pertinent to breast cancer, and boy, she gets right to it and get your answers right out.
What would you like? Are there the top 3 things you want to leave with viewers today before we say goodbye?
I am going to interject.
Go, babe.
This is a tool that is empowering. Instead of
That's-
always looking over your shoulder and worrying, in addition to the wonderful tools that are available,
Yeah.
we have this additional tool that all women should be using. It is extremely empowering, and Beyond Pink makes it possible for those that don't have the expendable
Absolutely.
cash.
Yeah.
That's great.
2
That's
more
my
tips.
number one.
That absolutely get your thermogram.
Get rid of your
no excuse.
Get rid of your dryer sheets.
I know.
There's 86 chemicals on average in your dryer sheets and your fabric softeners. You're
Yeah.
putting on your kiddos, not just yourself.
Right.
Right? Think of those little kiddos. Wool balls, essential oils. Does the same
I
thing.
after I heard you say that, I was at Grocery Outlet, which is one of Trader Joe's and
I
Grocery
saw 'em
Outlets
there.
are my favorite. Yeah,
Yeah.
they are at there. You
I
get a
couldn't
whole
believe
pack
it.
of
I
them
know.
for not very much money, of
Yeah,
course.
they'll last thousands of loads.
Right.
Yeah.
My third tip is actually run, don't walk.
Oh.
Don't wait.
To get
Don't
your
don't
thermogram.
be my
Yes.
friend Stacy.
Oh.
Don't think you're too young.
Yes.
You don't.
Yeah.
There's no exclusions. This beast has no friends.
Yeah.
None.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you both
Thank you,
so much.
Stephanie.
Really for. I know so.
I know.
I mean,
I
we've
know.
lost losing
Yes.
women is probably
Yeah.
the. I mean, it's such a horrible thing to.
I'm tired of
to face.
losing friends.
Yeah.
Not on my
Yeah.
watch.
And it is, like you said, super empowering and such a relief when you get to take a peek inside your body. I was just seeing that I think Inland Imaging has this new thing, and maybe others too, where they can see inside of a heart
Yeah.
long
The
before
coronary
you
scan.
have,
Yeah.
long before you have.
She's done it.
Oh, you have.
I'm doing it.
I think everyone should do that,
Me
and
too.
everyone should get a
I do
thermogram
too.
on their
Yeah.
breast.
I do too.
Absolutely.
Especially since heart disease is the number 1
Yes.
killer, and then breast cancer is
Yeah.
super
Right up there.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Neither are friends of women. So yeah.
no. So beyondpink.net.
Yeah.
Everyone go there, please.
Yeah.
So
Get
much.
For yourself, for everyone who loves you.
Come and see me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call me.
Thank you for watching She Says, and
Thanks for
that's
having
it.
us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome.
We love you.
She Says is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content.